listening to SoulFlowRadio.com.
Children of the night, what music they make.
Is the mic on? I think it is. Rick's Show on the Radio, welcoming everybody to our edition here. March, what's the date here? This is the 12th?
Yep.
Thursday.
Yeah.
We're listening to some Black Bats, good friends of mine. The Black Bats 24. Let's listen to a little bit of this. Hey folks, welcome to the show. Like I said, it's Rick's Show on the Radio. I've got my guest Charles Dye, writer and producer, director, also sound music producer as well. Ali Dolan, who actually is the real life influence for this short story that we're going to be talking about called Two Secrets. Right?
Yep, that's right.
And my good friend over there, Eric J. Bird. He's welcome to the show, Jay. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
Sure, man. Yeah, he's been on it before. Jay's going to be talking about his participation in our transmedia sensation going on at the Abyss Theater called Theater of Vampires, and also some other works that he's doing. So welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, great. So, Charles.
Yes.
It seems that before we started the show that we found out that we have a lot of things in common here, and especially that would be a lot of friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And history down here in Florida.
Yeah, well, I've been a part of the South Florida music scene for a really long time. Started out working at Criteria, and then and ended up over at Gloria and Emilio Stefan's studio, Crescent Moon, and just been, I was really actively involved in South Florida music at least through the mid-2000s.
Wow, that's great. So we do have that in common because I as well have done that since the 70s, playing here and there. And but you're into audio engineering.
Yeah.
Did you ever work with
job.
I hate to drop names, but I do like to drop names, especially when they're friends of mine. You know Frank Prinzel? You ever work with him? He was a guy.
Of course I know Frank.
Frank,
yeah. Totally.
Gonna have to get him to listen.
Frank, if you're listening, love you, baby.
Yeah, Frank. And Tom McWilliams, good friend of ours as well.
Absolutely, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Been on the road with Tom for many years, and we were production partners for a good chunk of time there in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Working with the Estefans, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to hear some road stories from you guys. I bet you had some funny ones.
There are many. We literally toured the globe.
Yeah, it's funny because, when you go on a road with somebody as a musician or whatever, it depends on if you're, the guy who seeks out trouble or you're not seeking out trouble. And Tommy and I and Frank actually, and I don't know, but we're the guys that we're the good guys. We were never trying to get drunk, or look for the girls and all that. And we're just watch the other guys do all that. So actually, I think that's why we remember all the stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was fun stuff.
Great memories.
Yeah, definitely. So, welcome on to the show. And the reason that you're here is that you've segued into the film business, again, like myself. And you came up with this a really great story idea, which is a true life story that Ali is the inspiration for.
Absolutely.
And it's called Two Secrets.
Yes.
And I guess before we get into that too much, and let's talk a little bit about, where you're from and, some of your personal history. Where are you from, Charles?
Michigan and Ohio. Grew up in Michigan and went to college in Ohio. And then upon graduation, I came down here, and that's when I got my job at Criteria, which later became called Hit Factory, but when I worked there, it was called Criteria.
So when you went to school, you were sound engineering was your deal, right?
I actually studied all three things. I studied audio and video production at school. I was interested in film from the age of, I don't know, two. Sometime very early on, I was into film. I actually initially wanted to do that. That's the thing that I wanted to do. And I was the lead in all the high school plays, and I was into the whole. I didn't want to be an actor, but I wanted to make films. And my plan was to go to college and study film, but I got sort of sidetracked into music and got all excited about music at like a pivotal age, 17. And so when I went to college, I started studying both. But the internship that I got after college led me to Criteria, and that internship led me to a job offer. So at Criteria, so world-class studio, you don't want to turn that job offer down.
Especially down when you were going there. I mean, that was like during the 80s, right?
Late 80s, early 90s, yeah. And there was an exciting time. A lot was happening at Criteria at the time. A lot was happening in the music business. A lot was happening in Miami. Really exciting. So I stayed in the music business for quite a long time. I worked with, a number of big artists. Kind of a peak of my career was I worked on Ricky Martin's English language debut as the recording engineer on that album. And when it came time to mix that album, they were starting to do the mixes in New York with, a really big name engineer. But my rough mixes became the ones to beat. And in the end, on Livin' La Vida Loca, they asked me to do a mix, and we compared it. Well, we didn't, but they did. Compared it against the mix that was done up in New York, and they ended up choosing mine. And then that kind of started things rolling. Yeah. So I ended up mixing about half that record, and two other singles.
Wow, I guess that kind of situation can really build up a great reputation, and that's where you, especially that's a great track, La Vida Loca. I mean, that's
and as I like to say, I was just the guy in the room when it got mixed. I mean, that's a great track because it's a great song. Desmond Child, who wrote it along with Robbie Rosa, wrote a great song, and they produced a great track, and of course Ricky delivered it. I just pushed the faders up, but it was fun.
Right. Desmond Child, man, that guy's been around this area for quite a while.
Yeah. He's the most amazing vocal producer I've ever worked with. Yeah, I learned so much from him. He's a great songwriter as well, but he's an amazing producer.
Still working in the area with
Desmond's been to Nashville and Los Angeles. He's done a number of things on The Voice, or maybe not The Voice, maybe it was the other show, American Idol, I don't recall which. He still comes down from time to time, but I haven't worked with him since about 2000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So let me see. How about your transition into filmmaking? What year did that happen?
Last year.
Just last year? Awesome.
Year.
That's great. Yeah, because I mean, judging from the look of your film, you have a really good eye, a good professional purpose on that. It doesn't look like it's your first, like, hey, I'm going to put a camera here and try it. It looks like you really thought about it and know what you're doing there.
I agree that it looks that way, but and this is not false humility. We were really fortunate to have such a strong story. Ali's story is a really compelling story. It's a really inspirational story. And so we worked together on writing the script. And once we had a script in a form that we could start sharing it with people, it really just started happening that so many people I would share it with that I kind of would have expected to say, well, you can't make a movie. You've never made a movie before. Nobody actually ever said that. And the opposite kept happening. What everybody kept saying was, they would ask, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
So at a very early stage, we secured a person like that who was in love with the project and wanted to be a part of it, named Miriam Ersaz, who is an experienced feature film producer out of Boulder, Colorado. And she came on board as our producer and also helped with the script. So in the end, the script is a co-write between her and I, and Ali and I writing the story. And then she essentially secured the crew, not for free. We had to raise money online like everyone else. We used a fundraiser, which is a similar to Kickstarter site.
Right.
But once we raised the funds, she brought in this, and we shot in Boulder. She brought in this phenomenally talented crew, 17 people on the crew, 6 in the cast, or 7, and
the gear, right? All the
equipment.
All
I saw some pictures of that.
Yeah, the red is hers, the Red Scarlet's hers, and these people are all feature film experienced. Our AD is actually a feature film director, and like he is running the ship.
Right, he knows
so
what he's doing.
Really, I just had to know what I felt the actors needed to do.
Right,
And
right.
we worked really closely with the actors, Sarah Bartels, who was our casting director, and she was like our dialogue and acting coach. She's a very experienced actor, and she was very helpful in working with the actors. But as long as I knew what needed to happen in a scene, and long as our DP and I, Laffery Whitbread, had pre-vised it out.
Right.
My bottom line to this really long story is it looks the way it does because of the collaborative efforts of everybody involved.
That's right.
It's the only way it looks the way it does because
That's
everybody. I asked everybody to bring their own voice to it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the to me as a person who has directed.
Yeah.
That's the best thing to do is to get the people to own part of the project, not just tell them I want you to do this or I want you to do that. Of course, you want them to do what your vision is because I mean it has to be somebody's vision.
Yeah.
But you need to have other people feel like they've owned the project.
Absolutely. And I encouraged, I mean, I had a conversation with every member of the crew at the beginning of the process, and I encouraged each of them to express themselves in their craft, whether it was costume or hair or makeup. And since hair, makeup, and costume are all heavily involved in the storyline, there was actually a way for them to express themselves. Laffery, of course, our DP, our director of photography, did a brilliant job, and he brought so much to the film. Everybody, the lighting, it looks the way it looks because of all these amazingly talented people who truly wanted to be a part of this project, and all of them, I mean, nobody was paid what they were worth.
Yeah.
None of them. Everybody came in and really just they read the script, they loved the story, and they wanted to be a part of it.
Well, that's great. That that's an important part of a film is, of course, the talented people and the good equipment and the people that know how to run it. But of course, it's the story that is the most important thing.
And
here.
I realized one other group of people hadn't talked about either the actors, but let's talk about the story.
Yeah, we'll talk about the story here, and so. Allie.
Yes.
This is your story.
Yes, sir.
And how did you find out about Allie's story?
Well, I grew up in the Northeast, and I came down to Florida for one of the secrets, which was a girl. I moved to Florida for a girl, and I started working straight out of college at a post-production company called The Kitchen TV, and that's where I met Charles. So as I'm sure you've told people before, it was sort of like an early time. We had become friends. Had been working late one night, and I decided that he was a friend enough to sort of bare my soul and tell him a little bit about my life. And we both sort of like looked at each other like, yeah, this could actually be something. Someday we could actually collaborate and make this something. And, when I was growing up and living my story, living my life, I always thought it had to be a certain way. You had to write a book and then you would go on the book tour and then maybe somebody would option it for a movie. But I was never interested in the writing. I was interested more in the collaboration and the talking. And that's actually what we did to do the script is he actually interviewed me and I would just, shoot out the things that had occurred and how I felt about certain things, and that's really how we got the script. So it was a process that took well over a year just for the script alone.
Yeah, that's it is quite a story when you think about it, and not to give out a whole lot about the story because not very many people have seen it, but we actually will see a good segment of it today here on the show in a little bit. But the fact of being such a young person, your subject is supposed to be how old in this?
12.
Like
can
12
I give the
years
one-liner of the film?
Sure.
Yeah. 2 secrets will change 12-year-old Janie's life forever. One, she's never told a soul. The other, her entire family's never told her. Tonight, they're going to crash.
Yeah, that sounds good right there.
It's a good log line.
Yeah, it is a good log line. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, and so the story takes place basically over 18 hours. It's a single day, overnight, and then morning.
Yes. So that's great. So just a conversation and opening up your heart to somebody else has led to the fact that other people will share your story with you on the big screen now, which that's kind of a cool thing too, isn't
It's
it?
amazing. I mean, all I really ever wanted out of this was to touch lives. I think Charles the same way, to transform people, to move them, to shake them up a little bit, and to realize, that there are things that happen to people, but it's not the be all end all. It doesn't define who you are. And we like, as a society, to put a lot of labels on people and keep them in little boxes. And, I did that to myself for many years, is put myself in a box and tell
Well,
myself
when you're
that
that age,
yeah, of course. What's right, what's wrong, things like that. And our film is really just to encourage people to be who they are.
Hey, that's a good theme. I think it really
that
is.
the theme. Yeah.
That's good.
Be
Actually,
yourself.
believe it or not, that's what the Theater of Vampires is about. You guys got to come check it out too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
come see your show
Absolutely.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, just that one conversation led to the film. Now, how involved were you during the production part of it? Like, or I know that the writing part, at least you gave him the idea, but a writing, there's a lot of dialogue,
Right.
And you go, hey, how did this conversation go with this person?
Yeah, I mean, there are parts when I watch the film that are so eerily exactly as they happened that it really takes me back. But I really saw myself during the filmmaking process as more of a consultant. So my job was essentially done, but when it came to the actors who may have questions about their characters, especially the lead, Janie, if there were questions that they had for me, I wanted to be easily accessible. So I kept myself at a distance. I actually did not go to rehearsals at all because I wanted them to have their time.
Right.
But when it came time to being on the set, it was exhilarating for me. I loved being there. I mean, I walked into, we have a scene in the woods and I was like, is this my backyard? Like, it was so perfect, picture perfect. So it really took me back. It was a really amazing experience.
Amazing. I'm sure it was amazing, but how did it feel? I mean, to see this young actress portray you and to go through the things that you did back then.
It was very emotional. There were days where it was emotional on the happier end of the spectrum, the nostalgic, end of the spectrum, and then there was one scene. I hope that's going to be the one we maybe show today.
Yes.
That was the most true to life and was really the make it or break it point in my life. And that was I watched the first take and I knew we were going to have to do so many different camera angles and so many different takes, and
Right.
Our casting director looked at me and said, "You other room, like you get to watch the first one, but
Right.
you're going to lose it and
Yeah.
you need to one
Yeah.
time is
Smart.
enough." So
Yeah.
I had to remove myself. Well, I got
Sure.
removed from the situation because it was very emotional.
Well, let's talk about what you said there a second ago. You said that was a make it or break it point in your life, and I don't know if this is not like a giveaway or anything, but judging by yourself right now and your accomplishments, I'm going to say it was a make it moment in your life, wouldn't you say?
Gosh, I mean,
Great question.
it's a really good question. This is not where our film stops. This is a short film. This is a
Right.
snippet. We are doing a feature, and there are a lot of other things that happen beyond the point where our film ends. So
Sure, you got to grow up.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would say that it was a turning point. I did have some ups afterwards. I did have many downs afterwards, and just like anybody, a couple of years go by and you get an idea and you go after that one. You go after that dream. So now, I'm in a very good place, and I have very clear goals and dreams and aspirations, and I'm going toward them. So that's probably what you're picking up on.
Kinda, yeah. I'm thinking, if I was told the secret that you were told, how I would judge my life's worth,
Absolutely.
and I don't know if I would do the same thing, but apparently you did. You took the ball and ran with it, figuratively and maybe literally, because these days now, what are you involved in now? I mean, you were telling me that you're one of the renowned triathlete now. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. So yeah, I played sports all my life. You'll see in our film that when I was 12, I was really into baseball, not
Right.
not softball, but baseball. I played with the boys. I was the
Uh-huh.
pitcher. They were all scared. And
How's your curveball, by the way?
I actually didn't throw a curve, but I had a really nasty fastball. Nasty.
See,
And
stinger.
changeup, which was the crazy thing, because if I threw that changeup after a fastball, you just had no idea what was happening. So
That's not fair.
yeah.
But-
So I played sports all my life. It was always a big part of my life. But actually, thinking back to the kitchen where I met Charles, he was the guy who had decided to sign up for a triathlon, and I was like,
Really?
what? Why would
She wasn't doing
anybody?
trials.
I was like, why would anybody want to do that? That sounds like horrible. That sounds just. I mean, at that point, I wasn't playing sports. Out of college, I was just hanging out in Miami, having fun. They'd signed up for a triathlon, a couple of coworkers, and I really. The day after they got back to the office, they were totally changed, like as human beings. I mean, honestly, the
Really?
sense of accomplishment
Yeah.
that they had on their faces made me want that, yearn for it. So
What does a person do if on a triathlon?
yeah, triathlon. So
Yeah.
they swim, they bike, and they run, and it's all in succession. So you here
So
in
what's
South
the problem?
Florida.
I go in the pool,
Yeah,
I
no,
swim,
no.
I
How
ride
about-
around the block.
How about an ocean swim? How about an ocean swim with
Oh, and what's the
waves and
distance?
creatures? So the distances that I've been doing mostly are sprint and Olympic. So that could be anywhere from a quarter mile to a half mile swim, or even a mile. In the ocean,
In the
you know,
ocean.
open water. You know,
water.
you've
Oh,
got
my
hundreds of people around you punching and pulling, and I mean, it's
Hiking,
like everybody
waves,
for themselves. And then you transition, so you've got like a little bit of a run from wherever you exit the water to grab your bike, and then you get on the bike, and you could do anywhere from like 12 to 20 miles in a time, and then you've got another transition where you load the bike back up, grab your shoes. You got to actually change in most situations, and then go out for a 3 or 6 mile run. So it could be an hour or two of just you
hour
and
or
your
two?
body. Yeah, just.
You
killing
do all
yourself.
that in an hour or two?
Well, yeah. The goal is to do it. The goal
I
is to
was
do it in the
wondering-
least amount of time. That's the goal. You don't want to be out there
3
for
or 4 hours.
Yeah, I take all day. you
Oh,
know?
I've done one of those actually. I've actually this time this weekend is the 70.3 Ironman in Puerto Rico, and I did that last year.
did, yeah.
And I was out there for almost 7 hours. I mean, it was. Whew.
I grew up as a competitive swimmer, and even in the swimming pool, there are preferred lanes to use
Oh,
to
of
have the least
course.
amount of resistance. So if you've never done it in the ocean, you can't even imagine how difficult that must be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love to swim in the pool, and you get your stroke down. That's where you really hone in your technique. But when you get thrown out into the open water, it's a whole other story.
It's more like survival.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So is there any part of that triathlon where you go, I can't wait to get out of this water and get on my bike because it's so much easier on the bike?
It's
And
so
you're like,
funny
can't
because
wait to get off this bike.
Yes, that's what happens. It's like when you're in the water, you're thinking about the next thing that you have to do. For me, my favorite is running. So if I can just focus on the one thing that I'm doing, I know that my favorite thing is at the end. So I just have to,
So you're a runner? You like running?
I love running. But prior to meeting Charles and working, with him, I could not run a mile. Honestly, I could not run a mile. I would get on the treadmill and I'd go like 2 minutes at a time and then out of breath. And I mean, I never thought I was out of shape, but I most definitely was. And now, I mean, I just did my first
So
marathon.
did I miss something
so
here? You said after you met Charles,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you got into the triathlon?
Well, right, because I had done a try.
Yeah.
With myself and a couple of coworkers.
Yeah.
And when we came, we actually invited her to come.
I was like, no, you guys
I'm
are
not gonna do
crazy.
that. I'm not gonna do
No.
that. So this is
Really?
like 5 or 6 years ago.
5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So we did the try, and we came back with this post-try glow, which is like this,
Right.
like you're just like,
I can do anything.
right. Yeah,
Better
you
than
feel like
everybody.
you just conquered the world. So you want to just like you can't stop talking about it, and you're just kind of electric.
And I was like, all right, I'll do one. Fine. If you can do it, I can do it, and I
Yeah.
probably can do it faster. Like, that was a big challenge, but I got the bug. I mean,
Yeah, I think actually
Yeah.
the second try I maybe did beat you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't.
Now
remember.
we'll look at it. Yeah.
I don't remember anymore.
Well, needless to say, I
third I
got the bug so badly that the day of my triathlon, I went home and I showered and we ate like our body weight in food. I mean, I just was eating all day. I took a nap, which was the best nap of my life, by the way, and I'm a champion napper. But I signed up for another try that same day, and I have done 20 to date.
Whoa!
and
I
I
did not
want
know
to
that.
make my
20.
career as a triathlete. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I just,
Sounds
you haven't
like-
said it. She wants to go to the Olympics in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, wish you the best on that. But it sounds like there's a little cross-mogination going on in
Yeah.
the inspiration department between you
Absolutely.
two, huh?
Hey, you want to be a
Yeah.
filmmaker? Let's do it. Hey, you want to be a triathlete? Come on. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do it. I'll do it if the nap part is in there, like you said. There's the nap. Is that in there?
Sounds to me like he's the coach.
No.
Anyway.
No, she's got some pros that do that.
Pro napping.
No, pro coaching.
Pro coaches,
Pro
yeah.
coaches. Yeah.
So is there another one coming up for you anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, in April 19th is the South Beach Triathlon, and this is notoriously a different distance because they have a sister triathlon in Malibu, so that they do it a little bit longer than a sprint. This year, I'm hoping to do it under 2 hours. So, yeah, it's a big one. It brings, I think, about 5,000 people internationally too.
Wow.
So, Allie, do you live down here now in South Florida? Is this your
I
home?
do. Yep, I live in Miami.
And are you guys looking forward to a release or of your film anytime soon? I know
Yeah.
it's in post production right now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're in post. We're most likely going to complete in mid-April at this point. We were shooting for the end of March, but now it's looking like mid-April. So a couple
And
extra
you're going to
weeks.
go the film festival circuit with it?
Yeah. Our goal is to go to the Oscar, to enter into Oscar eligibility film festivals. The way that works is for the short film category, if you win in one of these 30, there's only 34 Oscar eligibility film festivals for short films. If you win in the short film category in one of those 34 festivals, in any, you don't have to just only in one, you're on what's called the nomination shortlist, which is the list that they then choose, a committee then chooses the 5 films that will be the Oscar nominees in that category of best short film. So we felt in the writing stage that this story was a really strong story and that we had a potentially really good script. And I shared with everybody on the project that if we could all bring our A+ game, I feel confident in one thing, that at least in the discussions on film blogs, we could hopefully be talked about as a possibility.
Great.
We have no idea if we're there yet, but and of course we will
Well, that's a
only know
big
after
leap.
it's happened. But our goal is to at least enter there in those festivals and see what happens.
Any local film festivals you're going to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fort Lauderdale International, maybe.
I want to be in at least the Fort Lauderdale, but most likely I don't know the names of the festivals down here just yet because I'm so focused in post.
Right.
But there's a festival here in Fort Lauderdale. There's a festival in Miami. So at least
West
both
Palm
of those.
Beach.
Yeah. At least those 2, maybe 3. There is an Oscar eligibility film festival. It's the one in Orlando, the Florida. That one's Oscar eligibility.
Yeah, I like the Fort Lauderdale because I don't know, it's local and you get to see bring all your family and
we
friends.
would totally want to
and-
be in that.
Yeah.
that would be
Absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Especially because we filmed a little bit down here.
Yeah.
So,
and we shot down here too. We didn't shoot everything.
right.
Yeah, we shot a day and a half here as well
Okay.
Yeah.
But most of it was shot where in
Boulder, Colorado.
Okay. And isn't that where things took place, or where did most of your? Or that was in Northeast, right?
Yeah,
Allie?
yeah. It's funny because I actually have part of my family is from Boulder, from Colorado, really.
Which family are we talking about now?
My adoptive family.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was cool to be able to kind of give a nod. Shout out to them. It just so happened that, our producer Miriam and the crew were out there, but it made it feel a lot like home too. Boulder and rural Pennsylvania where all the events actually took place were very, very similar, especially in the fall, with the changing leaves and everything like
know.
that. So
I'm from Philadelphia area myself.
There
on
you
the
go.
Outskirts.
I'm Doylestown. So
Doylestown. Oh my God! How about that? That's where my family's from too. Yeah,
Awesome.
Doylestown, and
That's where the story takes
that's
Hatboro,
where the story
The real story
actually
takes place in
happened.
Doylestown.
Wow, there you go. Here's another coincidence. How
Yeah.
about that? It is very pretty up there.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
It really is nice. Very nice area. I love that. up
And we
there.
didn't have Boulder double as Doylestown either. No, we shot Colorado for Colorado, or we shot Boulder for Boulder. But
Right.
but what we didn't emphasize the mountains, so it doesn't. You can't really tell where we are in the film.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you just can't tell, and that was intentional. We kind of wanted it to feel sort of like Middle America.
Yeah. It could be
Right.
anywhere, and
Sure.
it could be
Anywhere
anybody.
America.
Yeah.
Well, the way that your adopted parents were portrayed in the film. That they seem to be, they're very supportive, but they just don't want to tell you their secret.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's how it was in real life. I mean, my parents were supportive of anything I wanted to do. I'd say, I want to play the drums. Okay, here you go. No, I want to play baseball. Okay, here you go. And anything that I wanted to do, they were really supportive. But I knew growing up, I had friends who were adopted, and it was always a discussion. That even in school when you'd have these assignments, go home and find out why you have brown eyes and your dad has blonde hair. Why did you get what you got? And I would get so frustrated because I'd say, how can you think that everybody here was born into the family that they're growing up with? Because that wasn't the case for me. So these homework assignments, family tree assignments, just really dug down under my skin. So
I'll bet you that was kind of a shaky thing to happen for your parents as well, going, oh my God, now we're doing this again.
Yeah, I mean, because I would bring it up all the time. What's the big deal? Why can't you just tell me where I came from? I mean, I don't really see what the big deal is here, guys. And that's when I started to figure out, wow, if they're not telling me, then there's something big. But I'm going to find out.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's getting close to the bottom of the hour. And at this point, I think I would like to play an excerpt from your film here. This is actually the first time anybody's going to be seeing it here except for you and a little screen in the studio, editing over and over again. Right, Charles?
Yep. And I'd like to, if we have the time very briefly, I'd like to do a setup on it. But prior to that, I spoke glowingly of our crew, but not our cast. We knew that the story was going to be challenging. We knew that the cast was going to make or break it. So we spent months, 3 to 6 months casting the film for the 6 cast members. And as unbelievable as this may sound, for our lead actress, we knew that role was going to be highly challenging. We literally looked at 2,000 actors to find her.
Wow.
And the sort of ironic aspect of that is that she's actually the first actress we looked at.
Isn't that weird?
Yes.
And we just kept going back to her. We auditioned her, and she's a young actress, and she did well. But we wanted to make sure we had the right person. So we went through the entire casting process, and we kept coming back to her. Her name's Cassidy Mack, and she just kept every time upping the ante and kept doing more amazing stuff. And we knew this scene that you're about to see, we knew that this was the make or break scene for the film and the casting. So she's the one actress that had the ability to do this scene at a level beyond exponentially higher than anybody else. This intense knockdown drag out with mom and dad. And her story is actually similar. She was essentially adopted, and she was an adopted child, and shares sort of a parallel life story with Allie. So it helped her in the portrayal of this character. But all the rest of the cast is brilliant. So shall we briefly set this up?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to mention that.
Yes.
I just noticed that the way you tell that story and the parallel between the actress and Allie here is just. There's this serendipitous nature of the universe that comes around and kind of just smacks me in the face all the time. It goes, okay, you want this? Well, here, I'll help you do this by giving you this person. And I just really love that when that happens.
And we discovered her by accident. I mean, there's just no way we would have we would have never met her. I was watching the news, Brian Williams, one evening, and she was featured for 15 seconds on the Feel Good Story that's at the end of the news, the Make a Difference thing that they do on NBC. And she wasn't the feature of the story. She was a blip in the story, but I had a DVR, and I went back and I went what, and Googled, and she's a Hollywood actress. She's from Los Angeles, and then I emailed her, and we never heard back from her. And then a few months later, or maybe it was 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, she said, "I just found your email in my trash."
Really?
I would love to hear more about this story. It really sounds like something that I'd like to be a part of. And so that was how we auditioned her, and then, as I said, went through all the other actors, and then we came back to
What's
Cassidy.
the young lady's name again?
Cassidy Mack. She is amazing.
Yes, we'll have to watch her because I see some big potential in that young lady.
She's going to be big.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
All right, Charles, you want to set up the scene here that we're going to see?
Okay, so this is immediately after the best and worst night of Janie's life. She gets to sort of vicariously through her best friend Mark, experienced the possibility of kissing the girl that she is in love with or has a big crush on, who is actually her best friend. Janie is our character's name in the film, and she has a crush on her friend Stephanie. And this is a party at Stephanie's house. But then by accident, she ends up sort of outing herself to her friend and then almost confessing.
One secret out of the way.
Right, yeah, one secret out of the way. And almost confessing her feelings, but then chooses not to. And then through a misunderstanding believes that Stephanie has just asked her to go kiss her as like a practice kissing session. 12-year-old girls practice kissing.
Sure.
Trying to practice how to kiss so that they can kiss boys better. So in misunderstanding this, she follows her down the hallway and walks in on Stephanie and Mark kissing. So now Janie, with her heart crushed, comes running out of the party. This is outside Stephanie's house with the sketch in her pocket that Stephanie had given her to say, come to the party tonight and dress up with all this makeup on and look like a girly girl. You'll be great at the party. So this is the reaction to that. And then she comes home and confronts her parents.
All right, so let's watch this scene from Two Secrets.
About my real parents.
We don't know anything, sweetie. What we know is that you're our daughter.
But I have other friends who were adopted. And they know so much. They know where they were born. They know what they weighed. They have medical history. They even have birth certificates. Why don't I?
We simply weren't given
that information. Oh my God, you say that all the time. Stop. You say that all the time. And there's something that you're not telling me.
Jay, we love you more than life itself. You're a miracle in our lives. I mean, isn't that enough?
No, it's not enough. Because you know why? Because you know who you are. And you know who you are. And I am so tired of not knowing who I am. So I want to know, what's the big fucking secret? Why did you give this to me?
Because that's you, Jay.
Wow, Allie, that's pretty heavy stuff, man. I mean, really.
It still gives me chills watching it.
They literally plopped a newspaper article in front of you and told you that you're found in a trash can.
Yeah. So, I mean, I knew there was something weird going on as soon as I read the headline, there were a couple things, that went through, like, nah, this can't be real, that somebody made a mistake. This seems like the plot of a movie or a soap opera. I mean, those are literally the things that went through my head. But then I started thinking, well, no, I mean, that makes sense that they hid this from me, because how do you tell anybody this, let alone a 12-year-old?
Right. So how long did it take before you forgave them or came to grips with,
I had a stint of alcohol and drug abuse after that. I needed to escape my reality because the reality was so dark.
Sure.
But I forgave them for withholding it, and I still felt their love. They didn't love me any less. It was really they were protecting me. So I was able to forgive that. But I don't think I was at that age able to forgive myself. I kind of put it all on me, like there was something wrong with me, like I was worthless for some reason why nobody wanted me, like as a baby. So it took, there was a lot of, as I said, ups and downs throughout my adolescence to get me to a point of being like able to see it on video
and talk about it on the radio. I guess, right? Well, I'll tell you what, that is a great story that you brought to us here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. I really appreciate. Really looking forward to the the whole thing here. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm glad that you came on my show. And Allie,
thank you.
I'm glad to see that that your film and your story has come to life, and it must be somewhat of a catharsis for you.
Absolutely.
And for other people to come out and see it and to know that nobody's life is worthless.
Exactly.
And you can do great things. It's just
absolutely.
Maybe we'll bring you back onto the show and you could tell us what it is in your heart that brings you to this point where you are now, where you were so confident. You're such a confident young woman that's kicking people's ass on the triathlon.
Nice.
Yeah,
I would love to.
I can see how it'll be a feature. There's a lot of story there to tell. So brilliant work.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm glad to have seen just even a clip of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, actually, I'm going to take just a little bit of a break here, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Jay Bird here and talk a little bit about Theater of Vampires, if you guys don't mind.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Charles Dye, thank you very much.
Thank you very
and
much.
you stay
Thank
right
you.
here. And okay,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Allie
Thanks,
Dolan,
Rick.
nice to meet you. And we're going to take a little break on SoFloRadio.com.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
I heard you had a new karaoke gig.
I do have a new karaoke gig. It's at a wonderful location, Sea Breeze Bar and Grill in Davie.
What kind of place is that?
It's a family-friendly restaurant, and they have 18 flat-screen TVs, a pass-through indoor-outdoor bar area, and a beautiful covered patio.
Besides your Tuesday karaoke show, what kind of events do they have there?
Wednesday is open mic and wine night.
Is that when I can go and wine?
No, it's when you can go and buy wine for 50% off. That's not just glasses, that's bottles as well. Thursdays is trivia night, 7 to 9.
What about happy hour specials?
Happy hour is Monday through Friday, 4 to 7.
I'm assuming they have really delicious foods and maybe some food specials?
They do have food specials. Actually, 11 specials for lunch that are $6.95, and that's 11 to 3. Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., they have breakfast.
I'm assuming they have a website where you can go and find out more information and hours and their calendar.
Absolutely. They have a website that includes their specials, their calendar, upcoming entertainment, everything.
You're going to tell them the website, or you want me to?
You tell the website.
I was looking it up. It's seabreezebarandgrill.com. And what I discovered, and you're leaving out the most important part, is all the beers. They have 46 beers there, I noticed, from their website.
Yes.
Including 20 on draft and a lot of craft beers that are really exciting and trendy. They have Inland Monk in the trunk and Dirty Bastard in the bottom.
They do.
Among others, they have several Sweetwater. They have Funky Buddha beers. They have a lot of beers there. So for those craft beer lovers out there.
They're a full liquor bar, so whether you drink beer, wine, or liquor, they've got you covered.
They're at 4995 Southwest 148th Avenue in Davie. I'll be seeing you on Tuesday for your karaoke show. What time does that start again?
Karaoke is 6:30 to 9:30 every Tuesday.
At the Sea Breeze Bar and Grill, 4995 Southwest 148th Avenue in Davie.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now. 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
We have such sights to show you.
SoFloRadio.com.
You don't hear me.
All right, we're back, and we did a little switching of the seats here. Jay Bird's up in the hot seat. Charles is over there, and I'd like for everybody to put their hands above the table from now on, okay, for the rest of the show, so it doesn't look weird or anything like that.
Yeah, that's my fault, right?
Thanks, Char. I appreciate that. Good suggestion there. And by the way, while we're saying hello to everybody, say hello to your moms or whatever, everybody.
Mom.
I'd
Hi,
like
Dad.
to say
Hey,
hello
Mom.
to my wife, Caroline, who's in Ireland right now.
Nice.
Come back.
I'll say hey
Very
to
fast, honey.
my brother Adam. I was on the phone with him on the way down here. He's in Dallas. So,
Okay.
Hey, Adam, what's going on? He's actually the one who started Corpse Nation with me.
Great. Corpse Nation. Let's talk a little bit about that, Jay. Sure. Well, let me talk a little bit about Jay first here. Charles, you were mentioning that, it really takes a lot of really talented people.
No doubt.
A collaboration of a lot of talented people. And since Jay and I met, we've been working on, mostly this one project. But I'll tell you, he's invaluable for a lot of the things that we've done for the photography, the special effects that we have for our show, and also the videography as well. So you have a good eye for that. How long have you been involved, interested in photography, Jay?
Oh, photography probably since high school.
Mhm.
But I've done, much like some of our other guests here, Charles, I've been into film my whole life.
Mhm.
And I actually studied and went to school for meteorology. And you pursued music and composition and whatnot. And I went to school for meteorology, but the whole time I've been writing and I've been filming and doing photography.
Mhm.
I was a professional storm chaser, and I still do that to this day.
Wow.
So always had a camera in my hand, and
You
now
guys should
I-
talk. Sounds like you have the same type of
That's awesome.
personality.
Now-
I like
Thrill-seeking.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
thrill seekers. Yeah,
Absolutely. And now it's the same thing, but with a paycheck. So
that's great. All right. Hey, speaking of photography, George, I know Jay is taking some really cool pictures of some of our characters of Theater of the Vampires. We could throw some of those. There's Dracula. I know we collaborated a lot on these some of these shots here. But the thing is, once you get a good subject and interesting background and costuming, it kind of comes together pretty quickly.
it does. I mean, a lot of people credit me for the photos and the pictures and whatnot, and I don't take any of the credit. I say, lights are lights and so on and so forth. And I understand that there's certain placement for them, but the actors still have to create the character. They have to become the character. They have to show emotion and think their lines in their head and what they have to do on stage. And that really creates the moment. And everything else is, in my opinion, almost just ancillary. It's a compliment to what they're creating in front of the camera.
Sure.
And then, with a little technical knowledge, you just click away, and you get some really great photos.
Yep, there are some really great photos there, and you got some behind the scenes during our practice there, which that's always gives a lot of things away too, like when to snap it, when to take that picture, when there's a certain moment going on there that is kind of explains what's going on in the scene.
Yeah, when you're working with professionals like we are here, you can see in the rehearsals how much effort that they're putting in. They don't. Take anything down a notch just because it's rehearsal. They give 100%, and that's what really brings it out during the actual production. And so far, just like it was back in October, there's an incredible response.
Mm-hmm. Now, you also have another project that, like a photography project that you were working on in the Everglades, or something going on with that.
Yeah. Well, I've not necessarily a photography project, but a creative endeavor altogether. I work with the Everglades Wildlife Alliance, and we're out in the Everglades dealing with the python invasion, Burmese pythons, rock pythons, and essentially all stories involving the Everglades, the wildlife, the problems with big sugar and the issues that they create, and want to create awareness for a lot of these problems and try to come up with solutions, because a lot of people just aren't aware. They live down here, they know about the Everglades, but they don't really know what's going on out there, all of the endangered species and everything else. So I'm a part of the creative process of that and putting that in front of people.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been down here since like 1967, and the Everglades has kind of shrunk a bit since then. I mean,
I live what used to be in the Everglades.
Yeah, exactly.
Cooper City.
Yep, used to be the Everglades and Weston, all that, all those things.
Totally.
And that's another thing that people don't realize, is that a lot of people, when they think of the Everglades off the top of their head, they think, well, South Florida. But it goes all the way up to Orlando.
Yeah.
I mean, it has shrunk over time, but it's huge. And different areas of the Everglades look completely different. You have those fields, the river of grass, and then you have tall, huge trees. And it's one of the problems with the pythons is they wrap around the base of the tree, like the Melaleuca trees, which is an invasive species down here. We can't touch them because their sap actually burns your skin. So you can't get too close to the trees. They wrap around the base of the trees. They're practically invisible. It's problems that people don't realize that we actually have, but and they have no solutions for it.
Wow, that must be a tough shoot, though. I mean, when you're shooting out there in the Everglades, I mean,
it's brutal, especially in the summertime. Mosquitoes are
the Everglades
the worst.
in the summertime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Can you imagine the Seminole Indians, or the Indians that used to live out there?
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. It's just stuff being out there for a few hours around sunset in August. I mean, if you've never done it, don't do it.
Okay. Good advice.
Do your airboat rides in the morning. Do it in the afternoon. It's better to do it in the heat of the sun. Don't do it at 6 p.m. Mistake.
Maybe I'm missing something. What is it?
Honestly, it's the mosquitoes. I mean,
yeah, they're brutal.
Words can't describe what it's like. If you swatted like that, you'd hit 500 of them.
Wow.
I mean, it's bad. I mean, I have an airboat captain that I go out with all the time. His name's Captain Randy, and he owns, I'll give him a quick plug, ridethewind.com. And he is an encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to everything in the Everglades, and he even lets you drive the airboat and everything. I mean, the guy's amazing. Definitely my go-to guy when I'm out there. And I've been out there in the wintertime in pristine conditions, and I've been out there in the summertime in the heat of the day, and we've been out there in difficult times in the dusk of the day. And if you have a choice, choose not to be out there at sunset. At least not in the summertime. In the wintertime, absolutely, it's gorgeous.
I'll keep that in mind next time I'm driving down Card Sound Road and my car wants to break down. That to me is like, forget about it. Break down in Card Sound Road.
Wait till the next day. Get rescued.
Barricade yourself.
Yeah.
So you also are you are into special effects in a big way. Isn't that correct, sir?
That is correct, with Theater of Vampires. And one of the things that makes this play unique is that it's transmedia, which I know you've spoken with many times on your radio show and at networking events that I've gone to with you. For those who aren't aware, but when you have a transmedia production, you not only have your actors on the stage, but they interact with the audience and the crowd. They may come up into the audience. You have we've got a theater screen at the theater, like a movie theater screen. We have stadium seating. So you've got video playing before the actors at the stage, while the actors are on the stage. The actors interact with the video. There are visual and special effects. And then there are special effects live on stage, with lasers and smoke and lights, and it's all encompassing and it's all immersive.
And music, don't forget that. That's a big part of our thing.
Plenty of music, and that runs the gamut from almost medieval sort of archaic music to
Lady Gaga,
full on rock and roll, and Lady Gaga. Yeah,
right. Yes. So I'm glad you're a part of it, though. It was amazing. We were talking about the serendipitous nature of the universe there, but we were putting this thing together in October. My friend Ricardo Bocanegra of the Black Bats, and it was almost like a last minute thing where, hey, a friend of ours mentioned that this guy Jay and showed me some pictures of the Corpse Nation, your work that you do with your Corpse Nation.
Correct.
I don't know if you have any of those pictures, but some of the pictures of the corpses and skulls and things like that. I go, wow, wouldn't it be awesome if we could get a corpse and like put him in like one of the seats while we're having our play?
Real corpses?
Yeah, well, they certainly look like it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, describe your method on that.
I get that a lot, and that's the ultimate compliment, actually. The short answer, no, they're not real corpses. I actually buy the skeletons or the skulls that I use, and usually they're plastic resin or bone resin, and I age the bones, and then I add muscle tissue, tendons, ligaments, and then flesh, and then I rot that. So it looks like a realistic rotting corpse, and that's the whole
If
purpose
it smelled,
behind
the police would be there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that actually came about. I mentioned my brother Adam earlier. He had a house down here, and he's like, Jay, can you do a zombie for the front yard? And I've done special effects where, if you wanted to look like a zombie for Halloween, I could do, latex and things like that on you. But I've never tried doing something like that. So I said, I don't know. And I attempted it, and then everybody in the neighborhood, actually, before I attempted it, we went to all the party stores just looking to buy stuff, but everything is geared towards kids. Mm-hmm. And we're like, where's the cool stuff? Where's the stuff for adults that want to celebrate Halloween? And it didn't exist anywhere. So
by the way, that stuff is cool to kids too, by the way.
Oh,
I mean, they do really like, there's a skeleton, mommy.
They're actually not really afraid of it. They'll go up and they want to get pictures taken of it and everything. So I realized that I had to create something from scratch, and I didn't know how to do it. And I researched and I figured things out, and I created something. And everybody in the neighborhood who came by said, "Oh my God, where'd you get this? Where can I buy one?" And you couldn't. And my brother and I had a conversation. We thought, well, how much is it going to cost to start a business? Is it going to be this much, or is it going to be a smaller amount? And we crunched the numbers, and we thought we could do it for a smaller dollar amount, and that's how Corpse Nation was born.
So Corpse Nation provides corpses for?
Corpses, skulls, bones for feature films, music videos, training videos for DUI or something like that. I mean, you name it. As a matter of fact, the interesting thing is, and thank you for asking, it's actually an important question. The interesting thing is the majority of our customers are just people who want a unique horror collectible. Wow. If you're into horror movies and you would get a Jason mask or a Freddy Krueger glove, that's the sort of person that wants something from Corpse Nation. And it's something that they can show off with their other horror collectibles and have something unique, because I don't use any machinery when I create them. Everything is done by hand. Yes. So every piece looks different.
And he has a real attention to detail. As a matter of fact, Jay was telling me a story about how he was going to do one of these zombie walks. So I was like, well, what do I do to get to look like a zombie, right? So tell us what you did with the clothing there.
Well, like you said, I have a keen eye for detail. So I don't like taking any shortcuts with anything. So I went to a thrift store. I bought a 3-piece suit. You got the shirt, and I got the everything, and I buried it in the backyard.
Nice.
For 3 months.
3 months.
Oh, I see.
And
3 months.
When you talk about smell, this thing obviously smelled, but it looked completely realistic.
In the pocket.
Worms, bugs, everything. I had to shake it out, and then I hung it up for about 3 days. And after the 3 days, it took care of the
So
smell.
you didn't wash it?
No. That would defeat the purpose.
That would defeat the purpose. Yes.
Yeah. If you want to realistically look like a zombie, I can make that happen. And how real do you want to make it? But it was very effective.
So, how did your girlfriend feel? Oh, that's right. You don't have a girlfriend. Oh, sorry, Jay.
Burn.
Oh, yeah. That wouldn't be very nice,
I'm married to my work right now.
There it is.
Married to my
Aren't
corpses.
we all?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's got to be something. So where do you keep that? Well, in the yard, I guess, right?
The suit?
Yeah.
I wear it on special occasions.
Okay.
When he's going out to pick up girls, of course.
Maybe there's I know there's a special occasion coming up this Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. That's another Theater of Vampires thing. You guys got to come to that one, okay? He's going to be wearing his suit, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess now I have to.
You won't see him, though, because he's in the back doing special effects, but,
that's
just the
that's
way
true.
it is.
I have a little hidey hole back there.
Yeah.
No, I do that, and I know we'll get the music coming up, and I want to mention this really quickly because Theater of Vampires is done at the Abyss Stage Studio over in Wilton Manors.
Right.
And after the Theater of Vampires run this month, next month we're going to be doing something called 50 Shades of Poe. We have multiple directors doing short Poe stories, their own renditions of it on stage. I'm one of the writers and directors of that show. So I'll be doing one of the Poe stories and my own little reincarnation of it, and that should be a lot of fun. It's definitely something unique and different, something you haven't experienced before.
All right, so come to the Abyss Theater there. A lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's my show, and I appreciate you guys coming. All right, Allie Dolan, Charles Dye, and my friend Jay Bird. This week on Rick's show on the radio. We'll see you next week on SoFloRadio.com.
Later.
Thanks, Rick.
Ich liebe der Nacht und mehr als ich liebe dich. Ich bin für immer dein und ich bin für immer allein.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.